Haribo Namaste, Haribo Namaste, Haribo Namaste, Haribo everyone and Haribo Namaste. I'm here today in the beautiful Australian rainforest. I have a beautiful creek beneath my feet and it's very, very cold. Let's have a kirtan. A kirtan tune today is C, F and G. Namaram Vishnupadaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimate Siraswarapananda Paramahamsariti Namine Vajrashi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudeva Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana. Haribo. Well, we're going to go listen to the story of today. Are you ready for that? You ready for that, possum?
Yes, please.
This is the story of Krishna the butter thief. Once upon a time, seeing that her maidservants were engaged in different household duties, Mother Yashoda personally took charge of churning the butter. And while she churned butter, she sang the childhood pastimes of Krishna and enjoyed thinking of her son. As she was busy churning, her earrings and bangles tinkled. There were drops of perspiration on her face, and the flower garland which was on her head scattered here and there. Lord Krishna then appeared on the scene. He felt very hungry, and out of love for his mother, he wanted her to stop churning. He showed his mother that she really should stop and feed him his milk. Mother Yashoda took her son on her lap and pushed her breast into his mouth so he could have the milk. While he was busy sucking the milk, she was smiling, enjoying the beauty of her child's face. But suddenly, the milk which was on the stove began to boil over. To stop the milk from spilling, Mother Yashoda at once put Krishna aside and went to the oven. Left in that state by his mother, Krishna became very angry, and his lips and eyes became red in rage. He pressed his teeth and lips, and taking up a piece of stone, he threw it at the butter pot and broke it. He took butter out of it, and with false tears in his eyes, he began to eat the butter. In the meantime, Mother Yashoda returned to the churning place after setting the overflowing milk pan in order. She saw the broken pot in which the churning yogurt was kept. Since she could not find her boy, she concluded that the broken pot was his work. She began to smile as she thought, "The child is very clever. After breaking the pot, he has left this place fearing punishment." Then she began to look for him all over, following his butter-smeared footprints. And then she found him on an upside-down wooden mortar. He was taking butter, which was hanging from the ceiling in the baskets, and he was feeding it to the monkeys. She saw Krishna looking this way and that, out of fear in case he was spotted. After seeing her son so busy, she very silently approached him from behind. Krishna, however, quickly saw her coming with a stick in her hand, and he immediately got down from the grinding mortar and began to run in fear. Mother Yashoda chased him to all corners, trying to capture the Supreme Personality of Godhead. She, however, could not easily catch the fast-running child because of her thin waist and heavy body. Still, she tried to follow him as fast as she could. Her hair loosened, and the flowers in her hair fell to the ground. Although she was tired, she somehow reached her naughty child and captured him. When he was caught, Krishna was almost on the point of crying. He smeared his hands over his eyes, which had black eyeliner on them. The child saw his mother's face while she stood over him, and his eyes became restless from fear. Mother Yashoda could understand that Krishna was unnecessarily afraid. She then threw away her stick. In order to punish him, she thought to bind his hands with some ropes. She did not know it, but it was actually impossible for her to bind the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mother Yashoda was thinking that Krishna was her tiny child. She did not know that the child had no limitation. Still, Mother Yashoda was thinking of Krishna as her child. She then tried to bind him with a rope to the wooden grinding mortar, but when she tried to bind him, she found that the rope was 2 inches too short. She gathered some more ropes from the house and tied them together to make a longer rope, and tried again, but she found again that there was still 2 inches too short. In this way, she connected all the ropes available at home. But when the final knot was added, she saw that it was still 2 inches too short. Mother Yashoda was smiling, but she was very astonished. How was this happening? In attempting to bind her son, she became very tired. Then Lord Krishna appreciated the hard labour of his mother, and being compassionate upon her, he agreed to be bound up by the ropes. After binding her son, Mother Yashoda engaged herself in household duties. At that time, bound up to the wooden mortar, Krishna could see a pair of trees before him out in the courtyard. These trees were known as Arjuna trees, the great reservoir of pleasure Lord Sri Krishna then thought, Mother Yashoda first of all left without feeding me sufficient milk, and therefore I broke the pot of yogurt and distributed the stock butter in charity to the monkeys, and now she has bound me up to this wooden mortar, so I shall do something more mischievous than before. And thus he thought of pulling down the 2 very, very tall Arjuna trees. Now there's a very interesting story behind the pair of Arjuna trees. In their previous lives, the trees were born as human sons of Kuvira, who is a demigod, and their names were Nalakuvara and Manigriva. In their previous lives, they were cursed by the great sage Narada Muni in order to receive the highest benediction of seeing Lord Krishna. Although the child Krishna was bound up to the wooden mortar, he began to proceed towards the growing trees in order to fulfill the prophecy of his great devotee Narada Muni. Lord Krishna knew that Narada was his great devotee, and that trees standing there before him as twin Arjuna trees were actually the sons of Kuvira. Then he began to proceed through the passage between the 2 trees. Now Krishna was able to pass through the small gap between the 2 trees, but as you remember, he was tied to a big wooden mortar. The mortar tipped over onto its side as he pulled, and got stuck between the 2 trees. So he pulled with great strength, and the 2 trees, with all the branches and limbs, fell down immediately with a great sound. Out of the broken fallen trees came 2 great personalities, shining like the blazing sun. All sides became very, very bright and beautiful by their presence. The 2 purified bodies immediately came before Lord Krishna and bowed down to offer their respects and prayers. And then they left back to the heavenly planets. And then the Lord remained bound by the ropes to the grinding mortar. When the twin Arjuna trees fell to the ground, making a sound like the falling of thunderbolts, all the inhabitants of Gokula, including Nanda Maharaj, immediately ran to the spot. They were very much astonished to see how the two great trees had suddenly fallen. Because they could not find any reason for their falling down, they were very puzzled. When they saw Lord Krishna bound up to the wooden mortar by the ropes of Yashoda, they began to think that it must have been caused by some demon. Otherwise, how was it possible? At the same time, they were very much perturbed because such uncommon incidences were always happening to the child Krishna. While the elderly cowherd men were thus talking, the small children who were playing there told the men that the trees fell down due to Krishna's pulling the wooden mortar with the ropes to which he was bound. They said Krishna came in between the two trees, and the wooden mortar was topsy-turvied and stuck in between the trees. Krishna began to pull the rope, and the trees fell down. When the trees fell down, two very, very shiny men came out of the trees and began to talk to Krishna. Most of the cowherd men did not believe the little children. They could not believe that such things were at all possible. Some of them, however, believed them and told Nanda Maharaj, "Your child is different from all the other children. He just might have done it." Nanda Maharaj began to smile, hearing about the extraordinary abilities of his son. He came forward and untied the knot just to free his wonderful child. After being freed by Nanda Maharaj, Krishna was taken onto the laps of the elderly gopis. They took him away to the courtyard of the house and began to clap and praise his wonderful activities. Krishna began to clap along with them. Such are the wonderful activities of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who, being completely controlled by the gopis, began to sing and dance, just like a puppet in their hands. Do you remember the story of when Krishna killed the Aghasura demon? Well, these children are making a 3D scene where they colour in the various parts and then assemble it. Let's have a look at how it is done. This child is colouring in the background using a green pen, whereas the other child is using pencils. After all the colouring, the children then begin to cut out the pieces. Look, there's an Aghasura all coloured in. Look how sharp his teeth are. Still, lots of colouring to do with some of the children. Lots of the parts of this craft are coloured in green because it's the grass and the background of the hills. Let's have a look at what one of the other children are doing. Here we go. He's cutting out the cow. If you would like to make this craft at home, you can download it from the link below. You may need some help with all the cutting though. So this boy has now got a few of his pieces ready. He's now got to cut along all the slits. This is so all the pieces can slide into one another. Now let's watch how he assembles it. First he has to have the big Aghasura at the back. And then this long green piece has all those cut out slits to slide in all the pictures. Now for the very last piece at the front, which is the cow. But you can put them in a different order if you like. Here we go. Isn't it wonderful? You could put your scene up on Janmashtami or any other occasion. This is the second craft that the children are doing. Do you remember the name of this pastime of Krishna? Yes, it's the Kaliya serpent and Krishna. This is for a Janmashtami card. It's a pop-up Janmashtami card. The children carefully colour in Kaliya. And then they cut out the tabs and glue them to the inside of the card. They need to glue the tab to the card and to the picture of Kaliya and Krishna, so it is attached at the back. It's quite fiddly, this one. If the glue isn't strong enough, you can always pop on some sticky tape as well. Now let's test it to see if it folds and opens properly. With your card, you need to give it a good crease. There we go. Wow, that's so beautiful. What a great card to give to someone on Janmashtami. The children are acting out the pastimes of Lord Krishna and his dear friends, the cowherd boys. When Krishna would feel very tired, the hairs on his head would become scattered, and the younger friends of Krishna would immediately come and relieve him in different ways. Some would say, "My dear Vishala, please take this fan of lotus leaves and fan Krishna so that he may feel some comfort." Varufapa, you could brush the scattered hairs on Krishna's head, which have fallen on his face, and decorate it with flowers and peacock feathers. Oh, and Vrishaba, please come immediately and massage the legs of Krishna, as he has become very tired from fighting and wrestling with the demons. Krishna's younger friends are always engaged in personal service of him. Let us offer our respectful obeisances to the dear friends of Lord Krishna, the cowherd boys. One time on Govardhan Puj, some friends and I made a huge Govardhan Hill model. Look at all the animals we put on it. This is a different model to the one in one of my other videos on Govardhan Puj. This one is much bigger. It has beautiful deer, little temples and lots of trees.
There to be peace in the world, first we must have peace within. Peace and shelter can be found in the hearing and chanting of these sweet, sacred sounds.
And Govardhan Hill is very lush with fresh green grasses. All the animals like to go on Govardhan Hill to see Krishna. How many animals can you see? There's Krishna's parrot. I wonder where Krishna is. Can you see him here? Here he is. He's playing his flute and he's garlanded with fresh flowers. Now it's time for Govardhan Puj, and we all circumambulate Govardhan Hill. Jaya Shri Govardhan. This is another model of Govardhan Hill. This model is very big as well and has very detailed figures underneath. You can see here the pastime of when Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill, and all the residents of Vrindavan are standing underneath as angry Indra has made torrents of rain fall and there are floods everywhere. So Krishna is protecting all of his devotees from the great storm.
The art gallery.
Let's have a look at some of the artwork the children have been sending me. This picture was drawn by Ananta Maharana Das, who is 6 years old. He's put a lot of detail in this picture. I can see a rabbit, a monkey and a cow. This picture was drawn by Sudevi, who is 9 years old. She's also been putting animals in her picture, and it is of Krishna and Balaram. Look at the cheeky monkey hanging above, and the other one is hiding behind the tree. This lovely painting of Krishna was painted by Sachi Dasi, who is 14 years old and lives in Australia. Krishna has a lovely little bird coming down to see him. This beautiful artwork was done by Radha Dasi in Russia. Radha Dasi is 7 years old. She has certainly put a lot of work into her picture, hasn't she? You can see Krishna and his best friends playing in the forest. And what has Radha Dasi got on her head? This next picture is a pen artwork. It is a drawing of Lord Krishna playing his flute. There are a lot of nice details in this artwork, and it was done by Radharani Dasi in America. Radharani Dasi has also painted this beautiful picture of Lord Nityananda dancing. Radharani Dasi is 13 years old. Our next beautiful Krishna artwork was done by Govinda Leela Dasi, who is 13 years old. She has drawn a pencil sketch of Radha and Krishna. Govinda Leela has also drawn this picture. Who do you think this is? Did you guess? Yes, it's baby Nimai. And here comes the big snake. Well done, Govinda Leela Dasi. Thank you everyone for sending me your beautiful artworks and for sharing them with everyone who watches these videos. Please keep sending them in. Would you like to send me any of your nice artworks? If you do, my email address is on the screen. You could write that down, and when you do have one, you'd be able to send it to me. And please write your name, where you're from and your age. Haribol! I have some wonderful Kids for Krishna t-shirts for sale. If you would like to order your t-shirt, then please see the details in the description below the video.